Before we dive into this AI tool review that will provide clear insights, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we upload new tool review podcasts every day.
All right, so today we're going to be diving into the world of AI writing tools. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on AISEO. Now, this deep dive is for you, whether you're, prepping for a big meeting, or maybe trying to wrap your head around this whole AI writing thing, or maybe even if you're just super curious about what it can actually do. One thing that really jumped out at me when I was reading the review for AISEO was their claim about creating content that AI detectors can't even pick up. Is that even possible? I'm not so sure. But that's why we've got our expert here to kind of break it all down. So what's the deal with these AI writing tools? Are they just a flash in the pan, or are they here to stay?
Well, it's really interesting how fast these tools like AISEO are changing the game, right? We're not talking about clunky robots spitting out, generic sentences anymore. These tools are learning how to write content that ranks high in search results. We call that SEO, by the way. And it sounds like a real person wrote it.
Okay, so let's unpack AISEO a little. The review that we've got here says it's this all-in-one tool for all your content needs, right? Blogs, marketing stuff. It seems like AISEO wants to do it all.
Yeah, that's right. They want to be your go-to for creating content, especially if you're focused on getting your content seen online. And what sets it apart, I think, is how much it emphasizes creating content that doesn't sound robotic, like a real person actually sat down and wrote it.
Right, and they're pretty bold about this whole undetectable content thing. They even have a feature called bypass AI detection. I'm dying to know how that works. Is it really possible to fool the AI detectors?
Well, so AISEO says that they use some pretty fancy tricks, like switching up words and restructuring sentences to try to make the content sound more human. It's kind of like they're trying to throw the AI detectors off the scent. Now, whether it actually works is a different story, and we can definitely get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into some of these features. The long-form assistant sounds pretty cool. The review compared it to something called an abstract data type, which sounds very technical.
It does sound technical, but it makes sense if you think about it, right? So imagine you have a bunch of ideas for, let's say, a blog post. Well, this long-form assistant can take those ideas and organize them into a structure, almost like an outline, and then it can help you flesh it out into a full-blown post.
So it's like having an AI assistant that helps you organize your thoughts and then get them down on paper.
Exactly. You can almost think of it as your AI outline genie. You give it the wish your ideas and it grants it. By structuring them into a blog post or an article or even something like a script, imagine what you could do with a tool like that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool, especially for someone like me who sometimes struggles to get their thoughts in order.
Yeah.
And what about this AI article generator? It sounds like it practically writes the article for you.
It does a lot of the heavy lifting for sure. So it's designed to be really independent. It analyzes tons of data to figure out what people are searching for online, and then creates articles that are not only relevant to those searches, but also written in a way that search engines love.
Wait, so it knows how to use the right keywords and phrases to get your content noticed.
Exactly. If you're trying to build a website or grow a business or just get your ideas out there, that can be a huge time saver.
Okay, now that's something I could definitely use. If it means I don't have to spend hours researching keywords, I'm all ears. But the big question is, does the quality hold up?
Well, that's where user reviews come in. And from what we're seeing, AISEO is getting some pretty high marks for the quality and readability of its content. But it is important to remember that these tools are meant to be helpers, not replacements for you, right? You still need to go in and make sure that it sounds like you and that says what you want it to say.
Right. So it's like a team effort. But hold on, are you saying this thing can actually write like me? I'm pretty skeptical. How does it capture my voice and style if it's just using algorithms and stuff?
That's a great question. So some of these AI writing tools will allow you to give them examples of your writing style so that they can learn to kind of mimic it. It's still a developing area and it might not be perfect, but it's getting pretty sophisticated.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty impressive. If this thing can help me write faster and still sound like myself, it might be worth a try. Especially if it means I can finally finish that blog post I've been putting off for weeks.
I think we're both sensing a theme here. Efficiency.
You got that right. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
The review also mentioned something about AI content getting flagged as well too, AI-ish. And AISEO seems to be tackling that head on. But would Google eventually figure out how to detect this? There's got to be a way to tell if something's written by a bot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's a bit of a cat and mouse game, right? So as AI writing tools get better at sounding human, the detectors have to get better at spotting them.
Yeah, it's like an AI arms race. But speaking of features, the review mentioned some other cool ones, like a paraphraser and a readability improver. I'm all about making things easier to read, so that one definitely caught my eye.
Oh yeah, the paraphraser is pretty neat. It's not just about swapping out words to avoid plagiarism. It can actually help you adjust the tone and style of your writing while keeping the original meaning intact. It's like having an AI editor who can help you polish your work.
So it's not just about avoiding plagiarism, it's about making your writing better overall.
Exactly. And the readability improver, as you mentioned, is all about making your content crystal clear and engaging. It looks at things like sentence structure, word choice, all those little details that can make a big difference in how well your message comes across.
Yeah, that's a lifesaver, especially for someone like me who can get a little wordy sometimes. But let's get down to brass tacks here. The review talked about the pros and cons of AISEO. What were some of the highlights for you?
Well, the speed and efficiency are definitely major pluses, especially for someone like you who's, always on the go and learning new things. Imagine being able to research and write high quality content in a fraction of the time it would normally take. That's a game changer for productivity.
This reminds me of that time I spent hours trying to write a decent blog post. If I had AISEO back then, I probably could have finished it in time to actually watch the game.
I think we've all been there. But jokes aside, the time-saving aspect is huge.
Totally agree. Time is precious. But the review also mentioned some downsides, like limited customization options in some of the templates and potentially slow customer support.
Right. No tool is perfect. And it's important to be aware of the limitations. You know, if you need very specific control over your content, the limited customization might be a deal breaker. And reliable customer support is crucial when you're relying on a tool for your work.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, pricing. I know a lot of people are curious about how much this all costs.
Well, AISEO has different pricing plans to fit different needs and budgets. So they have a grow plan for individuals, a scale plan for businesses that need more features, and a team plan for larger groups working together.
And if you're not ready to commit, they do offer a free trial, right?
Yes, they have a free trial. So you can test drive AISEO and see if it's right for you before you sign up for a paid plan.
Okay, that makes sense. Try before you buy. So let's say someone is intrigued by AISEO and wants to give it a go.
Yeah.
How do they actually get started?
Well, the process seems pretty straightforward. You sign up for an account, choose the tool you want to use, enter your content or topic, and let AISEO do its thing. You can then review and tweak the output before downloading or publishing it.
Sounds pretty user-friendly.
They've definitely tried to make it easy to use, even for people who are new to AI writing tools.
And if AISEO isn't quite the right fit, what are some other options out there?
Well, the review mentions some alternative AI rating platforms, like Jasper AI, WriteSar, ContentBot AI, and Phrase.io. It's always a good idea to check out a few different options to see what works best for you.
Choice is a beautiful thing. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from AISEO's features and pricing to the pros and cons. But let's bring it back to our listener. What are the key takeaways they should remember?
I'd say if you're looking for a tool to help you create high-quality content faster, while making sure it's optimized for search engines, and sounds like it was written by a human, SEO is definitely worth checking out.
And it's always good to explore those alternative platforms too. It's a whole new world out there, and the options can be overwhelming.
Yeah, it can feel like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. But that's why we do these deep dives, right? To break down the information and make it digestible.
Exactly. We're here to help you navigate the AI writing landscape. But that brings us to an interesting question. So if these AI tools are getting so good at writing like humans, what does that mean for the future of creativity and originality? I mean, if a machine can write a poem or a song, is it still art?
That's a really deep question, and I don't think there's an easy answer. It definitely makes us rethink what it means to be creative and original. Maybe it's not about saying no to AI altogether, but finding ways to work with it, you know?
Right.
We can use its strengths while still keeping our own human spark.
Yeah, maybe it can help us overcome writer's block. Or come up with new ideas.
Yeah.
But we're still the ones shaping the final product.
Exactly. It's like having a brainstorming partner who never gets tired.
I like that, an AI brainstorming buddy. So for our listener out there who's maybe a little overwhelmed by all this, what's the one thing they should take away from this deep dive?
I'd say don't be afraid to explore these AI writing tools. Play around with them, experiment, and see what they can do for you. But always bring your own critical thinking, your own creativity, and your own unique voice to the table.
Right. It's like we're learning a new language, the language of AI. It's got its own rules and quirks, but we can use it to express ourselves in new and exciting ways.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe this collaboration between humans and AI will lead to a whole new era of creativity.
That's an exciting thought. So to our listener, we encourage you to dive in, explore, and don't be afraid to experiment with these AI writing tools. Remember, it's a partnership. You're still the captain of your creative ship. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time as we explore another fascinating corner of the knowledge universe.